than not using the services. So there's a question about the best achievement so far and how that will assist. And really, when I look at my life, Wananchi Online was probably the watershed point, or the one place I feel achieved quite a lot. For various reasons. One, my ambition, having gone to the UK, I felt that access to information and that being available to everyone was critical for people's lives to improve and for them to be able to take the right decisions, whether it's in terms of choosing where they want to go or what they want to invest in. So Wananchi allowed me to be able to set up a service and a business that was able to reach actually the Wananchi and grow to the extent the company now has raised over $210 million and has continued to grow and expand regionally. So that's something that I started with my colleagues, and I'm proud to actually see it move forward. But it was not an easy process. We had, yes, to go through CCK to get our licenses, to compete in the market fairly. It was difficult to get lines at the time, landlines, copper lines, and so it was even difficult when we started Wananchi to get office space because people felt we were competing with them. But we managed to break through that. We went, I think at the time, to one of the leading advertising agencies and said, look, we'd like you to be our agency. And they said, with a name like Wananchi, nobody will buy your service. The big corporates are not interested. They need names like Net 2000 that were there at the time. But today we've proven that wrong. Names like Wananchi or Safaricom have really worked, and that's brought us national pride. So through Wananchi, I was also able to get into Google. Google is a multinational business. Today it's worth in excess of $520 billion US. That's the market valuation, I think, as of yesterday. So a huge business, influencing so much within the world in terms of search, in terms of advertising. And so through Wananchi, I was able to get into Google, and I was able then to understand so much more. Having experienced local business, I was able to understand how big businesses, technology businesses, not only make money, but scale and operate. And so one of the things that I want to be able to ensure that we're able to do in our country is to grow big businesses, grow platforms that are able to change people's lives. They're able to create a lot of jobs as well as give people many opportunities. I think one example I'm proud of is Diego, the javelin champion. He watched YouTube to learn how to use the javelin. He taught himself and went and got a gold medal. That's a Kenyan. We brought YouTube here. YouTube is owned by Google. So there's a lot of opportunities that come with the technology. And I would say for me, my opportunity came from Wananchi because it then allowed me to get even into Google and gave me both an international as well as local experience. So I would bring in that experience to make sure we see the Silicon Savannah take off. We started listing businesses here, start unlocking the value that people are creating in the products and innovations that we're seeing happening in the market. So those are the things I can bring from the private sector into the public sector. But it's all a partnership. It's not that we will be operating independently. I expect that most of the innovations will still continue with the private sector, but we'll do that in partnership. The Ministry of ICT is really an enabler for all other ministries, providing transparency, ensuring that if we need to see how money is being spent and how tenders are being run, we can actually produce real-time data and information using technology for that to happen. So that experience also helps with the laptop project that is now more about content. I would say there's been value in the delay in the project taking off because it has changed now. It's not focused on devices. Devices change all the time. Technology changes all the time. But we need to educate our kids with the right content, variable content from everywhere. And so KICD is going to be the platform that provides content. And other players will be able to bring content so that the children are able to get a variety of content from across the country and even globally. Today you can get lessons from the US, from China, and then incorporate them in the lives of the kids in the schools. So on CCK, I think at the end of the court cases and the liberalization of the market, there was a recognition that what we were fighting for was actually good for the country. I do remember Honorable Muraria saying that he never understood that you can actually make money from airtime. As in, there was money to be made from opening up this sector, whether it was spectrum or whether it was airtime that the operators were charging. So from that point, we were actually friends. And I would say it's on that basis that I actually got my MBS from His Excellency Mwai Kibaki in 2010, in recognition of the fighting that we did to liberalize the market and bringing Google here. So I'd say today we are good friends with CAK or CA, and my interaction with them will still be ensuring that they're independent, which is what we fought for at the time. We wanted to make sure that they're independent and that there was a fair playing field in the market. So every player, whether small or big, is able to compete and protect their investment in the market. So I'm not expecting that we're going to have any issues actually with them. I expect we're actually going to be able to work even better together. I think on the last question, it's the media and the relationship with the media and about the radicalization. At Google, we've been operating actually with the media. They have content that they've been putting online, and Google is primarily an advertising platform. So I'd say we already have a relationship. And I'm not saying that we're going to always be friends. I think they're there to watch what the government is doing and to keep us honest. And I think because we've been working closely and we understand each other and we know where we are coming from, I expect there'll be easier communication. We'll be able to sit down in boardrooms and agree on ways forward. At the moment, there's a lot of litigation that's going on either policies or whatever it is that we're trying to do. And we can come together and say, look, we want the sector to grow. We want to work together. We want to build. And instead of having to fight and slow each other down, let's resolve these things even amicably. So my plan is that we're going to be able to do that. Finally, on the radicalization, the technology, as I mentioned, is evolving, and we are able to see what is happening. The beauty of where we stand today is that we have last mover advantage. Many people talk about fast mover advantage. In this case, we have last mover advantage. We can see what other countries have been doing, and we can begin to implement similar setups. We can leverage what they've done. We don't have to rebuild from scratch. So with the security agencies, we're going to work on various ways to ensure that with the support of the parents, the teachers, and even friends, that we can control access to all this content and who's reaching out to who. Thank you.
Last one from the Honorable Francis Nyenze, Leader Minority. But we'll get maybe, since this is yes, a small one, we'll get the last one from Honorable Conchela.
Thank you, Chairman. First, I want to congratulate you, Joseph, for your nomination. I have two very short questions. One is your predecessor, or let's say people who are in the ministry, were of the view that Safaricom had become too big and it was becoming a monopoly and it should be split. And the general feeling was that do you punish someone because of or a company because of their success? The other thing is, do you be putting off investors that if they come to Kenya, they grow big, yet they are paying taxes and the employer, they will face hostile, kind of reception from the government. So I wanted to know your take on that, so that other companies and investors will not fear coming to Kenya, that will be forced either to split into two or they'll be punished because of their success. Then last, Honorable Moses Cheboy had asked you about Konza Techno City. And it's our Silicon Valley, institution, Savannah Valley. And we want it to have taken place. We want it to be built, but there is no government allocation. The budget is so little. So what is your plan? Do you intend to inject money? Because you have very good qualifications on IT and you have a lot of experience. And I'm sure trying to bring up Konza City, it will bring a lot of developing in this country and also a lot of income. What's your take on those two issues?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Now, outsourcing by the business community through the ICT platform has actually